Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So this is our 2021 Toyota 4Runner that we are building out for our overland trips. So there's a lot of work that has to get done. We're kind of breaking this into stages, and this build series is kind of going to be ongoing and intermittent. Not everything is going to be happening all at once. So our first priorities basically are getting roof rack, lift, and tires installed just to get it trail ready. Once we get those basics down, we can focus on everything else that we want to do in addition to all of that, such as bumper and winch, electrical, auxiliary power, ham radio communications. All that is going to come later down the road, but it's just not all going to happen all at once. So today we're going to be focusing on getting the roof rack installed. So let's hop in the garage and see what we got going there. So unlike the Xterra, the 5th gen 4Runner has a huge plethora of availability in the aftermarket, and roof racks are no exception. So after debating with myself for a while and consulting with some other friends of mine as to which roof rack we wanted to get, I eventually settled on the 4Runner Slimline 2 roof rack. We went with the full-size rack, and it's in these boxes here behind me, and as you can see, there's some assembly required. So I have no idea what box goes to what. So we're just gonna have to open everything up and put it on the floor here. I went ahead and put down a tarp because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be doing a lot of scraping on the concrete otherwise. So just to keep things from getting scratched because they're brand new and I don't feel like feeling bad about it, we're just gonna go ahead and make this our little work area here. Not sexy, but it'll work. With as heavy as this box is, I'm pretty sure it is going to be the meat of our entire roof rack system here. So let's go ahead and pop this open and see what we're working with. They send you plenty of stickers, and thankfully they come with instructions. Oh yeah, your car here. And there we are, that's gonna be one of our cross pieces. So I'm just gonna start laying these out and just start organizing things as how I think they're gonna be built, and then we'll look at the instructions, see how close we got, and then start putting it together. I have to introduce you guys to today's sponsor in their video. Kenzu, our Shetland Sheepdog puppy, 3.5 months old. Hi there, you're gonna be the sponsor of our video today? You're gonna be the sponsor, huh? So Kenzu is 3.5 months old now. He's growing up. He's growing up very fast. He still gets scared of a lot of things, but he's slowly getting used to us and everything around us. Come here.
He knows you don't have treats.
I don't have treats, so he doesn't care about me anymore.
No.
Tough love. So this is the basic structure of what the rack is going to look like. We have the cross pieces in the center. We have two specific looking end pieces, if you notice. And then we have these side beams, which the instructions do specify to alternate the lengths of them. So you'll notice that the short one is on this side, and then the short one on this side is on this end here. So they just have you alternate that, and I assume that is for structural integrity purposes. I don't know. So over here in the included hardware, we have the corner pieces, which will fit on each corner to make it nice and rounded. We also have the necessary hardware for connecting everything together. They give us, I believe that's a spacer. I do not think we'll be using that. They also give us the necessary Allen keys for assembling all this. So to keep from getting ahead of myself, we're gonna go ahead and just assemble what we have out already, since everything is already basically here. So we're just gonna piece it together. Basically, all we have is an Allen key, and it's pretty much all you need to assemble this. So let's go ahead and get cracking on that. So in tightening up the roof rack, the Allen wrench that they sent with me here is not that great. As you can see on the end here, it's pretty well chewed up. I wasn't able to make it past a quarter of the way through tightening everything before this got chewed up before being useless. So I'm having to replace it with one from our shop. No big deal, but yeah, I didn't expect them to come with tools in the box, so not a huge loss, but we'll just continue on with ours and keep it going. So the rack itself is completely assembled, and I have to say it's actually really easy going. It's like putting together IKEA furniture. Everything requires just an Allen key. So all that's left to do now is figure out which one of these boxes behind me here is the brackets for mounting on the 4Runner, and we'll go ahead and get that assembled. So we have our mount, which is going to go on the 4Runner, but basically they're cut in half, so we're going to have to assemble them, and all the hardware we need is going to be right here. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. All right, so main brackets are assembled and ready to go. We are ready to get it on the 4Runner, but first we have to take off the stock roof rack and remove that. And then we also have to drill 4 new holes on the front and put in 4 riv nuts as well. And that is the part I'm a little bit nervous about because, well, this is a really nice car and I don't like drilling into things. But it's got to get done, so let's get to it. All right, so these covers need to come off basically, and that reveals the 2 bolts that are underneath there. And I'm doing so using this little chisel here. I wouldn't recommend doing this. This is probably very abusive to the 4Runner. But if we're being honest, this is probably not gonna be the last abusive thing we do to this thing. But basically I'm using a microfiber cloth too as well to prevent me from marring up the vehicle itself. But yeah, basically you just wedge this under here and there's 2 little tabs. And you got pop them out and it comes right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and get this going. And in theory, I should just grab and lift. There we go. And that is what we're left with. So we got the riv nut set in on the driver's side here, and as you can see, it's pretty clean, not a lot to it. It looks really good, and this spacer here is just gonna drop in, and then we drop the bracket on top, and we cinch everything down with a ratchet. Things I learned from this process though is that I should probably drop the headliner. I did not think about that until it was too late. I was trying to use these little drill bit stoppers that should keep you from drilling too far. They do not work one bit. The drill bit would, once it punches through, it just grabs on and it wants to suck the drill bit all the way through the roof. And luckily I was able to stop it before we punched through the roof liner. Scared me a few times, but we eventually got it. The first hole I drilled, it bound up pretty good towards the end, and we had to file it down because I was too worried of punching through the roof liner with a drill bit. So I took a more gentle approach with a little needle file, and spent about half an hour filing down to get it to where I needed to. Not fun, but it worked, and nothing's broken. So to combat that on the passenger side, what we're going to do is we're gonna start with a small pilot hole, and instead of just immediately jumping to a 29/64 bit, we're just gonna slowly step up drill bit sizes. And hopefully that will prevent us from needing a file. So I'm gonna get that done, and then we're probably gonna call it a day today and pick this up immediately tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. So it is a bright new day. We got the holes drilled last night and got the riv nut set in on the passenger side. So that is all ready to go. We just have to drop these little spacers in. And what we're gonna do now is drop a bead of silicone along each of these holes just to give it some waterproofness. And then we are ready to drop the brackets on and bolt them down. The brackets are finally mounted on the 4Runner. Now we have to turn our attention back to the main rack body. So as you guys know, we do a lot of highway traveling to get to our trails. So by default, the 4Runner roof rack comes with this small little wind fairing to go on the roof rack. However, instead, we're going to be using this one. This is a much larger wind fairing and it's going to help improve our gas mileage, maybe just like a tiny bit, but most importantly, it's actually gonna help reduce wind noise on the roof. So the wind fairing is now on and it's just sitting on here loosely because we're gonna have to fit it onto the 4Runner, but it is finally time to get this thing flipped over and mounted up. So to attach this rack to the brackets on the 4Runner, there are 6 points of attachments on either side. And they are split into 2x2, so I got 2 right here, and then 2 on the front, and then 2 on the back. Basically what we're gonna do is take this little bolt, and on the underside is this exact same slot you see here, and this will just slide in, lock in, and we can slide it up and down the rail, slip it through the bracket, and tighten it up with a nut. So let's go ahead and get this one over here. Kind of got to spin it around to find which way it's going to go in. There it goes. Slide it down. So all I have to do now is lift the rack up and slide these bolts into their respective holes. So that one's good. And drop it back down. Easy enough. Now we just got to do the same on the front and the rear. And that's it for the passenger side. All right, so this is the 4Runner Slimline 2 roof rack in its final form. We got it on the 4Runner, everything is tightened down, and I have to say it's really, really solid. I'm very happy with it. We have a few more things we need to do, but I think we're gonna save it for tomorrow. This has taken me a little bit longer to get done than I had anticipated. I was originally planning on doing it in 1 day, but I guess it's gonna take me 3. When I film and install at the same time, things tend to just go a little bit slower. So we have a few more things we're going to touch up on. So we're gonna fast forward to tomorrow and I'll show you guys what we got. So one of my biggest complaints about our build with the Xterra was our lack of storage in the rear. And if you guys watch any of our episodes of our travel series, you know that the rear was just jam-packed full, literally all the way to the roof liner. One of the things that took up a huge amount of space on the inside of our vehicle was the kitchen table. Having the chance to redo our build a second time, I want to do away with having the kitchen table on the inside of the vehicle, and I want to put it on the outside. And 4Runner has just the product to do that. And that is going to be this table right here. Now this is one of 2 tables that 4Runner supplies that are both stainless steel. This is going to be the larger one, and this box here supposedly is the brackets to mount it. So we're gonna go ahead and break this open and get it installed on the roof rack. So these are the 2 supplied rails that come in the box, and they will be mounting underneath the rack, allowing the table to slide in and out. And if you take a closer look here, you can see that these are actually padded, so you're not really scraping anything and destroying it. So along with the 2 rails, we also have this little safety latch that will allow you to stow the table away without having to worry about it falling out. And then in addition to that, we also have all our necessary hardware. So the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and do is install these rails. So in hindsight, it probably would have been easier to do this while the rack was upside down in the garage, but live and learn, I guess. They do give you measurements as to where you need to put these rails on the rack. However, it's a little bit difficult in trying to figure that out and be accurate at the same time because we already have the rack installed, so it makes things a little harder to do. I should have done this when we had it on the floor, but live and learn. So what we're gonna do is loosely tie everything down, and then we're gonna slide the table in and then cinch everything up, and hopefully we will get a good fit. So that's pretty much it for our camp kitchen table. Now this roof rack and the table and pretty much every other accessory that goes with this comes with a ton of these tiny little buttons that go on top of every 13mm bolt. I suspect in time I'm going to lose these, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But that is pretty much all there is to it for this. Now this kitchen table kit does come with this weather stripping that is supposed to go on the bottom of the crossbars that basically keep the table from slamming and scratching into the rack itself. So we're gonna go ahead and install that. There are also these two little small button screws that are gonna go on the side of the latch. That'll also help in keeping it from bouncing around. That is basically going to be it for our roof rack install. We have a lot more work to do, but we're going to be doing that at a later date. I have brackets for both our tent and our awning, but we'll make that in another video. There's going to be a lot more content to come as far as building out this 4Runner. We're pretty excited for it. Not everything is going to be happening all at once. It's going to be a bit of a slow process, but we will get there slowly but surely. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.